All right. So, taking up this homework question from yesterday, Jennifer asked 80 people which sport they like, football, hockey, or rugby. And these were the responses. How many people enjoyed all three sports? All three. Yeah. Kaden? 31, right in the middle, right there. Okay. What's my second half of the question asking, though? So how many people enjoyed all three sports? 31 students. But what is this right here? What is this part asking you? Is it asking the same thing or a little more? What does that P stand for again? The P stands for probability, right? So what is the probability? I'm going to ask Ethan, since you're so paying attention. Yeah.
How many people enjoy all three sports?
Yeah.
31 over 80.
Perfect. Right. Okay. So there's actually two parts to this question. 31 students enjoy all three sports, and the probability is 31 over 80. Okay. Um, this one, how many people enjoyed football and hockey, but not rugby? Okay. Who has the answer for that one? Catherine, is your book out? Why? Okay. Melissa, can you help her out? Yep. I got football and hockey. 14. That's right. Okay, so 14 students. Not 23 because it says and hockey. So you're looking at the overlap for football and hockey. Okay. What about C? Football and rugby, but not hockey. Yep. 17. Good job. Okay, that's the overlapping circle there. And then the last one right here, which sport was liked the most? Adriana? Football. How did you get that?
For all the sports, there's 31, and then for hockey and football, there's 14.
Okay, so what you would have to do is everything inside this football circle, you have to add it. So add up all these four numbers. That means those people like football or like a bit of football or like football and hockey and rugby. So you have to add up all four of the numbers. Same thing for hockey. These people all like the hockey, and then rugby, add up all four of these numbers in the rugby circle. And when you compare the three totals, you'll see that yes, football has the most people. Okay. All right. So that was yesterday's homework. Now, let's get into the really finance stuff. So the last 2 days we did like some number sense. Now we're actually gonna get right into the finance. So today's lesson will be more discussion based. We'll be talking quite a bit. So if I were to ask you what is finance, what comes to mind when we talk about the word finance? Yep, money, definitely. Okay. Other than money, what's important? Budget, right? So money and budget, that's what's makes up finance. So let's say Sarah, you go into the bank tomorrow and you say, I want to buy a house. Okay. Do you think they will lend you the money? Probably not. Yeah. Even though they might like you, but yeah. Even though if you're so polite, they might still turn you away, and not because they don't like you. It's because why?
Don't you need like a mortgage, and then you have to like if you take all of it at once, they will like a reason.
Okay. So okay, Kaden, to add to that.
They look at your job, like your income, to see if you can pay it back, and they look at your credit score as well.
Yes, that's the next thing, credit score. Okay, so how do I build a good credit score? paying the credit card bills on time. Okay, so when you get into university, there's gonna be like you'll see these booths set up like RBC, TD, MBNA, these credit card companies, and asking you, oh, you want to apply for a credit card? You want to apply? So my suggestion is, even if you don't need a credit card, it's good to apply for one. And like, I'm not telling you guys to like go spend on a like shopping spree. Even if you don't use it, having that credit card early and having a balance of zero all the time, it will help build your credit score because it's telling you that every time you're not in debt, you're paying on time. Even though the balance is zero, it will just think that you are paying on time.
I think in America you can link your you can get a credit card when you're 13 and link it to
13.
Oh, that's why I think so.
so
Yeah. Do you trust yourself with a credit card right now? No. That's even worse. That's even worse. Yeah. So if you,
it just builds up your credit score. So once
yeah, but
you
if somebody is not responsible and they blew up your the credit score like when they're 13, they're never gonna get a house. Okay. Um. So how many of you think eventually, not tomorrow, not in the next 5 years, but eventually you're gonna buy a house? Okay, most of you. Okay, so let's say in 20 years. Okay, let's say this is gonna come true in 20 years. How many of you think you can like bring a suitcase full of money into the bank and say, I want to buy this house? Maybe, okay, or probably not. Okay, so if you don't have a suitcase full of money, what do you need to get from the bank? What's that loan called? Mortgage, right? So, how much is so the house that you're living in now? Do you guys know how much your parents pay for it? How much did your parents pay for it?
Wait, but it was like a while ago.
Yeah.
It's like 1.2.
Okay.
4.2? 1.2.
1.2. Okay, 1.2 is still pretty expensive for like a while back.
Like, how now? That's
Like, but most people, I would think maybe around like a 600,000 mark. All right. So Kaden, what is that 1.2 million house worth now? You have no idea? Much more. I would think.
Isn't it buyer's market right now? Not
Yeah, but still, like if your parents were to resell the house tomorrow,
go up and down.
how much do you think your house is worth now?
I'm not saying that now. No, my neighbor, their
Yeah.
house is bigger than our house, and they sold it for only like, it was really low.
Oh.
It was like not even a million.
Oh no. Okay.
They have nice, like they renovated everything.
Okay. Yes. So normally the average house cost right now, I would say it's around 1 to 2 million. And you know how like back in the days when like your parents used to say, "Oh, I wish I won the lottery and then I can buy my dream home." Now you win the lottery, you can't even buy a home. Yes, and thanks to what? Inflation. That's right. So our next term, inflation. So now, well, I know that. So let's say my home now is worth 2 million. Does that mean tomorrow, if I sell it for 2 million, I can retire? No, because one, I have to pay off my mortgage. So that 2 million, I don't pocket because I have like probably a million in mortgage, so that goes there. And then also that that at the rest of it, it's not gonna last a living for my family for like the next 50 years. Okay, it might last for like 10 years maybe or 20 years, and that's because inflation made everything very expensive now. Right? So even a cabbage or lettuce used to be 99 cents. Now it's like 2.99, 3.99. So even at where do I shop?
What letters you chose?
It is. Go on flip. Yeah.
Like where are you getting your
Flip.
lettuce?
Where am I getting the lettuce? I'll show you guys. It really is that much. Right? Yes. Buy in bulk, Costco. All bulk farms. They don't sell lettuce though. They don't sell lettuce there, and if they do, you don't want to buy from there. All right. And so, because of inflation, cost of living has gone up a whole lot. Okay, so to what do you think is the biggest liability when you get a job in the future? What do you think is your biggest expense?
Taxes.
Okay, so yeah, like right off the bat, whatever you earn, you get taxed. So uh well, welcome to Canada. The more you earn, the more tax you pay. Unfortunately, yes. So yes, tax already right off the bat, you lose a whole lot. What's the next expense that really cuts? Rent, right? So rent is a big part, right? So those are necessities. So utility bills, those are necessities because well, you have a place to live, you need to be able to live in it. So water bill, electricity bills, those. Is a cell phone a necessity? Uh, no. Okay, you won't die without a cell phone.
You know, like a restaurant, they don't have menus anymore. They make it.
Well, I'm sure if you say I don't have a menu, I'm gonna leave your restaurant if you don't give me a paper menu. I think they'll fine you one.
You're like those. You need a cell phone to get a job. How are you gonna get emails? Basically, everything is done online now. You're just screwed if you don't have a cell phone. Yeah. I'm gonna get mail you your paycheck. No one.
Well, but why is cell phone a liability?
Because they made it expensive.
It's expensive, right? You need a data plan, right? So if you do like a pay as you go, if you guys ever even know what that is, so like you can have like a $5-10 phone like cell phone plan, but of course that will not satisfy you guys. You need lots of data, unlimited data, right? And but then once you get to the data, that $5 to $10 cell phone bill becomes $30-40. And then of course you don't want that iPhone 7. You want the iPhone 17. And so that's an extra $20 on top. Martin. Sure. Okay. So let's take a look at this example right here. So this person, he makes 2,500 monthly income.
2,500.
Yeah, 2,500 each month. Do you think that's a good salary or bad salary? 2,500 per month. So who says good? Who says bad? Okay. Okay, well, let's do some analyzing. Let's see how bad it is. Okay, so let's say this person has to pay rent each month. This is a studio price in a rundown apartment. Okay. So this person has to pay rent, and this studio, not even one bedroom, a studio where you open your front door and there's your bed, there's the washroom, there's the kitchen. Okay, and it's gonna cost you 1,250 just for the rent. All right. How much of it is already gone?
How much is this real? Like, can this actually nowadays how much? Yes.
I would say is actually low.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do the analyzing together. I like the discussion, but let's make it a class discussion. So right off the bat, half of it is already to rent. There's your pie. Okay. And then you need food. Okay. Food costs you 500. So to calculate how much to shade in to draw off, 500 divided by 2500, that's 20% of your pie. So there we go. Drawing 20%, that's food. And then transportation. So instead of getting a car, you take the bus. Okay. So that's going to cost $100. So if you do 100 divided by your whole pie, which is 2,500, that's about 4%. So 4% of the pie. So right there, transportation. All right. You need clothes to get to work. Okay. I can't be wearing the same thing every day to work. So that's another $100. So another 4%. And then the rest of it, whether it's like the extra expense or savings, is in the others. Okay. So looking at this pie right here, is this a good budget? Yeah. There's a little bit of savings, but with this amount of saving, you probably can never get your own place. That's a great point. So a lot of people rent instead of getting their own place is because when you rent the place, a lot of times your landlord includes the electricity and water bill within the rent. Right? So that's why a lot of people, because they can't afford the house, so they rent. But in the long run, I don't think renting is a good option because you're paying off somebody else's mortgage with them. Right? So my word of advice to you is if you guys can save enough money for a down payment, that's what you want to do. So once you have a down payment, pay it down, and then you can start, paying into your mortgage. But at the same time, um, don't live your life working for your house. All right. You need to enjoy life. So if you cannot afford a $3 million home, maybe be satisfied with a $1 million home. Or as a start off, once you get out of university, you might not be able to afford that $1 million home. So maybe start out with an apartment and then move up, and then townhouse, and then a semi, and then a detached. Okay. So it's very rare for people to be able to afford a detached home as their first home. Right? And if you're thinking, okay, I'll just save up enough so that I can afford that detached, you're never gonna catch up to inflation. Yeah. So the your best bet is to save up enough for a down payment and then get a first home. Right? So my little financial advice for you guys. All right. So how do we save up enough money? So for example, Mary here, she needs her coffee. So do you think going to Tim Hortons every day is a good option? Yeah. Okay. Why not? Why is it not a good option?
Make your own coffee.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm on my third one today. If I went to Tim Hortons and bought my coffee, it would have cost me $6-7 already. All right. So Mary wants to cut down on her expense. Instead of paying $2.50 each day for a coffee, she's gonna mix coffee at home. Okay. So how much will she save? $2.50 times 5 work days, and then in a whole year, because there's 52 weeks, she can save up $650 just by not going to Tim Hortons.
What about the cost? What about the cost of it? What about the cost it takes to get the materials?
Okay, but if Tim Horton charged you $2.50 for a coffee and they can still make a profit off you, it means that coffee is probably worth like 50 cents to them.
Pardon this interruption. Charles Min, if you're in the building, if you can please come to the main office. Charles Min to the main office. Thank you.
Okay. How many of your parents have gym memberships? Do they actually go? Oh, they do. How about Dina? But your mom and dad both have? But only your dad goes?
Every day.
But your mom?
Does he know rest days?
Yeah, see? Right. So a lot of people gets these expensive membership, but then they rarely go to it. So for example, this one right here is $85 per month. If she if she quits times 12, she saves $1,000 for the year. Right? Do you need to go to a gym membership? No, because instead of running on a treadmill, what can you do? Run outside. Right. Fresh air. Okay, so the leisurely running and nature running. That's the difference. Um, Smoking. Smoking is bad for you, and it's also very expensive. Okay, so this person smokes 3 packs of cigarette each week. Each pack is $12.50. Yeah,
4 packs a day.
4 packs a day. Wow, that's a fortune. Okay, yeah, lung cancer and a fortune. Okay, so $12.50 a pack. If you times it by 3 pack a week, times it by 52 weeks, wow, she saves $2,000 by quitting smoking, and $2,000 per year. Okay? Every year, and people smoke for like 40 years. So
Does it get allowed?
yes.
Yeah, but like how much would it cost to quit smoking? Wait, it's times 52.
Yeah, times 52 because per week.
Oh,
All right. How many of you bought your lunch today? Okay, where did you buy it? Cafeteria. How much did you spend? $12. Yeah, a few years ago it was only 6. Now it's 12. Yeah.
the fries back there. They're $5.
Yeah.
They're like $10 before.
I know, eh?
I still give ketchup. Like that's very little.
Okay, so let me do a little bit of math for you, Zoe. Okay, so how often do you buy from the cafeteria? Every day? Wow. Okay, so $12, 5 school days. All right, so $60 a week. So far from September to now, it's been September, October, November, 2 weeks in December. So 14 weeks. We'll say 14 weeks. Let's see how much you have donated to our cafeteria. You have given them $840 worth of business in in semester 1. So, do you guys know how many students is in our school?
1,400.
1,400. Okay, so let's say half of our population are like Zoe. So like half of our school does what Zoe does, times it by 700. Let's see how much money the cafeteria makes in one semester. Woo! It is a lot.
Someone's salary.
Okay. How much does potato cost?
Like 4 years.
Alright. So entrepreneur, starting your own business. Okay. Now let's say those potatoes, those very expensive French fries. I'll say like food cost is about like I don't know 100,000. They still make this much. Oh yeah. Okay. But then do you think the cafeteria lady makes this much?
No.
What happens to this money? Oh, tax. Right. So for this amount of salary, how many percent tax do you think they get deducted? Half? Alright, so anywhere between like 40 to 60%. So we'll say 40%. So times it by 40% off. So from that, they pocket under 300,000.
How many like still paying taxes?
Okay, yeah, they have to pay off the workers, cashiers, employees. Okay, yeah. So just wanted to do some analyzing for you guys. It's still a good amount, but it's a whole lot goes to taxes. Okay, so for a time card, when you do shifts, you have to add up the number of hours you work. Okay, so a lot of people like servers and restaurants, they like to work overtime. Why do they like working overtime? Kaden.
Tips.
Okay, tips. That's one thing. Misha, they get paid overtime, right? Overtime pay is usually 1.5 times the pay. So a lot of people like working overtime. So for example, here, Hannah, she worked 45 hours in a week. So for 40 hours, the standard 40 hours, she gets paid $15. So that will give her 600. But then for the 5 extra hours that she worked, the 5 overtime, she's get paid 22.50 for those hours. So she actually makes 112.50. So she gets paid $712.50 for the week. Right? So bi-weekly, right here, times it by 2, she gets 1,425. So for the month, she times it by 4, she gets 2,850. All right. So now for the year, does that mean I do 2,850 times 12? So this is how much I make in a month. So do I times it by 12 and I get the year? All right, I make 2,850 in a month. So should I just times it by 12 and I get the year? Okay, who says no? All right, what's the correct way to do for 1 year? Yeah, times it by 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year. 4 weeks times 12, 4 times 12 is 48 weeks. All right, so don't fall for this silly mistake. I've seen it before where people got the 4 weeks and then they just times it by 12 months. All right, but remember there's 52 weeks in a year and not 48. So use the weekly times it by that. Okay. So that's using a timesheet. Okay, let's do two more quick examples right here. Another type of salary you can get is this. So retail. Okay, so this handmade pair of shoes. Let's see, who's crafty in the room? Okay, Adrina. All right, so let's say Adrina, you're very crafty. You make these traditional shoes, and you sell it for $250 a pair. Cheap. Oh.
Yeah.
It's really cheap.
Oh, shoes are like $2.50.
Okay.
No, but crochet projects are expensive too. Oh, screw that.
Okay, well, you're only using $30 in material for these shoes.
But it's time consuming.
It's time consuming. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. So, no, $250. $250. So Adrina, would you sell these shoes for $250?
Like these shoes or just shoes in general?
These shoes.
No, they're kind of ugly.
You can make better ones. Okay. But these are handmade by you. Alright? it only costs you $30 in material, but you do spend 20 hours on each pair.
What?
So you'll charge $100.
No, it depends on the person that makes it, how much they charge per hour.
Okay. Well, so Adrina, she's the maker. How much would you say these shoes are worth it? How much would you charge Kaden?
I'm reading off.
What? Look, you charge this much an hour. It's the 20
That's it.
hours. Plus the material. Yeah.
Okay, so you changed your mind? Okay. Okay, so you think 250 is not a good price. Well, let's figure it out. So Kaden, our big spender, she wants 5 pairs. Okay? She wants to order 5 pairs from you. So to make those 5 pairs, it's gonna cost Kaden at $1,250. And you might be thinking, yes, okay, I made good money because it only costs you $150 worth of material. So I make 1,100. Not bad. All right. But then Kaden is thinking, ha, you spent 20 hours per pair. So 20 hours times 5, Adrina, you actually spend 100 hours making those 5 pair of shoes. So when you divide it out, guess what? Your hourly wage is only $11. What's the minimum wage right now? 17 bucks. So you got ripped off by Kaden. Yeah. So if you plan on making a living selling these shoes, your annual salary is $13,000.
13,000.
Yeah. The good thing is, does Adrina need to pay tax on this 13,000? No, because one, she's not under the table. One is what's that called? Like you make less than the minimum, okay? So you don't get taxed. And two, self-employed. So you get to write off some of that. Okay. So that's retail for you. If you do plan on making a living selling things, you want to make sure you consider your hourly wage. Okay. The second type is commission. Okay. So when I talk about the word commission, what comes to mind?
When you commission someone to like make something specific,
Sorry?
like when you commission someone to make something like specific.
Okay. So how do you make commission, Ethan?
To like sales comes to mind.
Sales, right? Sales. The more sale you make, the more money you get. Okay.
It's at the shoes. Do you know the shoe stores at like
Oh,
Fairview? That's why they always come up to you asking them.
oh yeah.
Because that's their commission. It's the same with like. You know, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make commission.
Oh yeah. And that's why like when you go pay, they'll ask you who was serving you. That's how you know that.
Yeah, and the receipt is the name of the person.
Yeah. All right. And then but Coach, bags, that's very little. What makes the most commission? Car dealership, okay, that's another one. So when you go into the dealership, that's why like 10 people run at you.
Real estate?
Real estate, that's right. Do you know how much commission they make?
They make like half profit. They make like really good.
How much percent?
Like 4%.
4%, 5%. So let's say that home that we talked about is worth $2 million, 5% commission. Just selling that one home, they make 100,000. That's very good for one house.
I know.
So imagine you can sell like a house a month.
But it's hard to sell a house. It's hard. You have to be a good salesman. Yeah.
Okay, one house every 2 months.
Okay.
One house every 2 months, you still make this as an annual, which is really good.
I can't count zero.
Oh yeah. But then also because you're self-employed, you get to write off a lot of tax too.
That's good.
Yeah. So this person, John, right here, John is at coach. Well, since Kaden you said coach, we'll say John sells purses at coach. So he earns a base salary of 31,200 plus commission. All right. So one week he brought home $725. So how much did he actually make? How much did he actually sell? All right. So first off, if his annual salary is 31,200, you divide it by 52 weeks, that will give you a base salary of $600 a week. So if John is a horrible salesman and he yells at you once you come into the store, he still makes $600 no matter what. Okay, so that's his base salary. So what about commission? So if he brought home 725, 600 was his base. That means he made an extra $125 just off commission. So now here's the tricky question. All right, the part one, part two is pretty straightforward, simple. Part three is the tricky one. What is his rate? All right, so how do you calculate his rate of commission? Who has an idea? How do you calculate the rate? Yeah.
You subtract what you got from what his supposed to be.
Okay, so we got that. So you got the 125.
Oh, sorry.
But that's the amount. I want to know the percentage. So how do I calculate that? Yeah, see, that's why I say this is the tricky question. Melody, what do you think? Right. All right, so the 125, and how much did he sell? 2,500 worth of merchandise. So when you divide that and then times it by the 100%, that means his commission rate is 5%. Okay. So part one, part two, pretty straightforward. Part three is the tricky part. Okay. So make sure you know how to calculate it. There are some practice questions in the homework for you guys to practice. And so I think we talked about all those. We talked about finance, we talked about expenses, we talked about salary. So, and that is why your parents always tell you study hard in school because education is very important. Okay. When you have a good education, it increases your chance of getting a good job. And then with a good job, then you get paid a higher pay. All right. So your homework for tonight. You still have a good half an hour to get started on the work. Up to page 30. Up to page 30. 22. Right?